Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Mind Muscle Connection podcast. Today is a solo episode, and I have a very special announcement towards the end, so make sure you definitely stick around for that. What I want to talk about today in this solo episode is a mindset shift that I feel like I have to make with clients when they first come to me, right? And I want to preface this by saying if you feel like you're working hard, but you're not changing your body comp, we need to look at focusing on your performance plus your inputs over obsessing over every calorie or scale fluctuation. I bring this up because I feel like most people come in and they come in, or again, just from what I hear, they overemphasize like the scale in terms of what that does from day to day, and they make their decisions that they make are impacted by what the scale says. Oh, hey, it's a little bit higher. I'm just going to decrease food intake even more. I'm going to ramp up training. Or they obsess over every last calorie. Hey, I was 200 calories over, and then they cannot get out of their head about this when they leads to them feeling like they're off track, and then that leads to other issues, and that or they feel like they need to exercise more now, or they need to restrict even more. And so I just see this kind of overemphasis on these things that we want to pay attention to, but I think we put too much stock into those versus not focusing on our performance in and out of the gym, but then also our inputs. What are the things that we're actually doing on top of that, right? And so again, here's a problem when we overemphasize the scale or obsess over every calorie. One, your weight's going to fluctuate daily. It's just a data point. We just want to you can't overreact to it not maybe moving as quickly as you want it, or going up a little bit more, or again, it being up for a day, it came in higher one day. It's just a data point. It allows us to look into some things that we need to potentially change, whether that be from, hey, maybe we need to focus more on performance, or maybe it's an input thing that we need to get dialed in. But we don't want to obsess over every last fluctuation, because there are going to be those fluctuations. We need to understand what's going on. And when we obsess over these things, you create stress and miss the bigger picture. So I've seen this many times where when people overly obsess over scale weight, or again, every last calorie, they miss the bigger picture that adds stress. And then now that's a thing that is adding a lot of stress to their body. And sometimes it can lead to people making worse choices, being stuck, spinning their wheels, and again, just causing a plateau in body comp change. And to me, this also makes you miss and overlook the inputs that are actually going to drive progress over multiple weeks. Because again, these are both very short-term things that if we're a little bit over on calories, our scale weight's up a little bit, that's not going to be the thing that's going to drive change over time. Because of that, now we overlook the things that are really important, right? So for example, a newer client I have, her scale weight is trending down, but maybe not as quickly as it has when she's done other methods. Now it's, hey, my scale weight's not going down. You made me add in protein earlier in my day. I used to fast all day and then just eat at night. Protein makes me gain weight. And then now that thought process of, hey, scale weight hasn't necessarily trended down as much. You added in protein in the day. That's what's causing scale weight to not move as much. And so a lot of people would be like, well, I'm going to take that out. And then now this person in particular, now they're going to be low on protein. They need to make sure they get enough protein. And so it's things like that. That's just an example of what I see. And again, this can lead to us making choices that are going to make us overlook and miss the inputs that actually drive progress. And often it leads to underfueling and poor training performance, which equals less results and spinning your wheels, right? So underfueling being maybe not necessarily underfueling in the sense that like you're low on calories. It could be that for some people, right? Like it could be hey, I'm going to cut out a bunch of calories, be super restrictive, and you could be under eating in that sense, or you feel like you need to not see your scale weight go up at all. And so you eventually over time end up underfueling. But underfueling could also be, hey, you're not actually giving your body nutrients it needs, even though you're right? Like you may be underfueling from that standpoint, or you could be underfueling from a protein standpoint, because again, we're just focused on calories and we're just focused on seeing our scale weight go down. And then on top of it, when we're underfueling, we're not fueling properly, and or we're just overly focused on like output of, hey, I need to burn the most calories. That can also lead to poor training performance, which is going to impact your body's ability to adapt and actually make change, right? So this is going to lead to less results and spinning your wheels. So instead, we want to shift the focus to performance and key inputs, right? So one, we want to make sure, hey, we're getting stronger in the gym, right? I don't think that's everything, but I do think it's important. I think we need to start to make sure that we are getting stronger. If you're getting stronger in the gym, that means you're likely building some muscle. That means that you're, from a long-term health standpoint, you're going to be in a much better position. These are going to be things that are actually going to lead to results over time. So we need to make sure that we're focused on that. And we can't do that by skipping meals, not eating, and also overly focusing on scale weights and making sure that is perfect and not ever going up in any form or fashion. Improving your cardio output. We're not necessarily just trying to burn more calories. So again, if we're improving your cardio output, that means that one, you're going to be in better cardiovascular health, which is going to have so many downstream effects. As a byproduct, you probably are going to burn calories. It's going to improve your body composition. You're going to be able to do more, handle more. You're going to be able to have better stress resilience. You're just going to be in better shape in general, which, as I said, is going to be helpful from a body composition standpoint and fatigue management, and just everything in general, right? So we want to focus on performance in terms of improving our cardio output, what we're doing. Again, we're not just focused on, hey, you need to burn the most calories possible. It's, hey, for a certain amount of time, can you still maintain this pace? Are you progressing over time with that? Fueling with enough protein and nutrients, even in fat loss. So again, whether we're more focused on dropping some body fat or we're just making sure you're well fueled and not necessarily in a deficit, no matter what, we need to make sure we're eating enough protein, and we need to make sure that you are, over time, we're improving your diet quality, even in fat loss pushes. Because again, that's a big thing, is when people are trying to drop body weight, they don't really care about what they're eating. It's just, hey, just need to decrease my calories on there. We also need, from an input standpoint, we need to focus on managing overall stress load on the body. We need to make sure you're recovered. We're not just adding in more just for the sake of adding more. We have to have a reason for that, right? We need to make sure your circadian health and sleep are dialed in, because if those are off, it's going to impact your body's ability to change. And so if we're overly focused on, hey, I went over 100 calories, my scale weight is up 0.5 pounds, but hey, you're stressed out of your mind. That's adding more stress. You're just now training too much based compared to your recovery, and you're scrolling on your phone all night, not getting good sleep. It's like we're overlooking the big things here, right? So we need to focus on these inputs, because those inputs are what is going to push your body in the best position to adapt. Another thing would be staying consistent with movement outside of the gym. So just finding ways to move more outside of the gym. It's going to be great for your mental health. You're going to, as a byproduct, burn more calories, and we're meant to move, right? So we need to find ways to get some more movement outside. So again, we want to shift the focus to performance and key inputs versus calories matter, scale weight matters, but those aren't the things that are going to drive what we do. We need to focus on what we're doing first and making sure those inputs are in check, because when you focus here, results feel more natural and you feel better in the process. So I think when we take the other kind of approach where we're overly focused on scale weight and tracking calories, you don't feel as good in the process. Results feel like you're working, like you have to like climb uphill the entire time. And again, you don't feel as good in the process. And by focusing on your performance and inputs, your body comp, which, is how much muscle compared to body fat you have, is going to improve. And so is your health. They'll improve as a byproduct of, again, you're improving your cardio output. You're more focused on that versus how many calories you're burning. That's going to improve your health, right? It's also going to improve your body composition. We're managing overall stress load on the body and learning how to work on that and not always being in this constant stressed out state. You're going to feel better. Your health's going to improve, and it's going to help with your body composition, right? So those are just some examples there. So again, stop only chasing the scale and obsessing over every last calorie, and instead start building performance and better inputs, right? That's how you actually look, feel, and perform your best there. So that's a key mindset shift that I try to really focus on with clients. I think it's super important. And that's, again, a key piece to the performance recomp method, which I talked about. Exciting news. I'm opening enrollment for the performance recomp method, which it's my one-on-one high touch point coaching program. They're, again, designed to do those things. I'm going to go into it a bit more, but I'm opening up spots just in terms of capacity to bring on people. I'm going to open it up for the next week and a half. And I can only take on 5 spots, right? Just because, again, it is high touch point, it is customized, and so I can only take on so many people at once. So again, opening spots. So if you're someone who's been on the fence, definitely now is the time to at least look into this. But I want to just chat about who it's for, what we do, and why this program is different than other programs that you'll see in terms of fitness and nutrition. So it's for it's for people over 30, right? You're someone who's been training hard, but you feel stuck, right? You want visible physique change, better performance in and out of the gym, and you want to feel good doing it as well too, right? I think most programs only focus on training and calories, right? And those do matter. It's a key piece of what we do, but I think it's why a lot of people over 30 stall out, right? If you've just tried harder in your workouts, you've tried more strict diets, or just, again, decreasing calories without getting the transformation you wanted, this is why, right? Like, we need to make sure that we're focused on more than just training and calories. So again, the performance recomp method fixes those gaps by looking at the full picture of your body and life instead of relying on discipline and just eat less, move more, right? We focus on a science-based framework that actually drives results. I think what most programs get wrong is they over-focus on like training volume or just cutting calories, right? Hey, we just need to cut calories, eat this amount of calories. If you don't, that's why you're failing. Other programs also ignore like recovery, stress load on the body, and lifestyle factors. Like, how are those things driving change? Because again, if we're not in the right state to adapt, you could work out as hard as you want. It's not going to happen. You could cut calories more. It's just not going to happen. We need to get those things dialed in. And again, treating results like simple math instead of respecting human physiology. So I think this is another mistake a lot of programs make is, hey, steps are here. Your calories are here. You're not losing weight. Hey, we need to decrease calories or move more. Again, that's potentially a thing, but if we're not also paying attention to your unique physiology and what's going on, we're overlooking these things. So we have to take a deeper dive into that, especially if you're over 30 and you've been training for a while at that point. And a lot of people and programs just rely on motivation and willpower instead of systems that work, right? So it's just, hey, you just need to push harder. Like you're just not motivated enough, or I'm not motivated enough. When again, that's part of the battle. Like we definitely want to make sure motivation's there, but we also need to make sure we have systems in place to keep you going. Why can't we just have a grip it and rip it? I like to call it a grip it and rip it approach in your 30s, right? Or white knuckling your way through, which is what a lot of people do. You're in your 20s, maybe early 30s, you were able to just do whatever and it didn't matter, right? You just pushed harder and that was what was going on, right? But again, as we get into mid 30s or beyond, it's like we can't just have that grip it and rip it type approach. We have to be a little bit more strategic with what we do. And here's why. One, we have more life responsibilities, meaning we have lower recovery capacity. We have way more stressors filling up our stress bucket. And so you have to be smarter about how much you train and what kind of training you do, right? You're not going to be able to just chase your max heart rate every session, burn the most amount of calories, and then also try and eat 1,200 calories per day. Again, that's a fast track to burnout, frustration, and just feeling like your metabolism is wrecked, right? So again, we have more responsibilities and more things taking up our overall stress load on the body. So we have to account for that. Also, years of poor stress add up, right? So chronic undereating, overeating, poor nutrition choices, lack of movement, poor sleep, or high stress lifestyles, they're all going to leave a mark. It's not like, oh, hey, it's in the past, it's gone. Now we can overcome these, but they do accumulate, right? And if we have that lower recovery capacity on top of it because we have more life responsibility, it's going to make it harder to bounce back like you used to. So over the years, these habits can impair your metabolic flexibility. So it can impair your metabolic health, right? It can disrupt your hormones in a way, right? Like you're just maybe because of things you've been doing, your body's trying to adapt to what you're doing to it. And both of these can make fat loss and muscle gain harder to where you can't just eat less calories and you can't just go and train more and that be the solution. There's things going on that we have to work on in combination with that to get your body into a better state to be able to adapt. And again, the good news here is with a smarter approach, we can improve this and get around this. And then 3, we're just going to naturally have lower resilience if we're not training for it. Meaning, if you haven't been consistently pushing your body and mind in a smart way, hello, comfort zone in modern environment, you're going to lose your ability to adapt and recover as well too. Going from weeks off to then trying to put in 110% effort is going to be a recipe for injury and frustration, right? So again, for example, as you get into your 30s, muscle mass is going to decline if you don't actively train for it. In your 30s, again, something like testosterone could naturally decline unless we're putting our body in the position to make sure that doesn't happen. And there's things that we can work on from a lifestyle and training and body composition standpoint. But again, they all go together. Cardiovascular fitness, if we're not actively getting better at it or doing it, it's going to get worse. Stress resilience, where your body's just going to, if you're not actively training for it, and as you get older, it's going to naturally decrease that, meaning it's all going to lead to a tougher time changing your body and maintaining it. You're going to feel like not only is it going to be hard to actually do that, but then to actually maintain it, it's going to be super hard as well too. So this is why we need that smarter approach and not just the shotgun approach, a grip it and rip it approach that you could use in your early 30s or again in your 20s, right? So we need to make sure that we're like, that's why we can't just do that anymore. So obviously in the performance recomp method, we work on this. We have 3 core outcomes that I want you to get out of it. 1, a physique that reflects your effort, right? And we're actually going to see body comp change here, not just scale weight. Again, I could sit there and train a ton fast, get your movement up, eat less food overall. And yeah, I could get your weight to go down, but is that actually going to help you long term? Did you learn anything? Is that actually going to change the look of your body? No. And so again, we're going to make sure that we're actually changing what in the mirror, and it's going to be based off of the effort that you have been putting in. And again, for some people, this could look like 5 pounds of muscle growth and 5 pounds of fat loss. It could be more closer to 10 to 15 pounds of muscle loss and 5 pounds of added muscle, right? But either way, we're going to change your body composition in a way that actually you look different, right? Next, the other core outcome is going to be performance that you can feel. So this is performance in and out of the gym, right? You're just going to feel better in your work. You're going to feel better in what you do from day to day. You're going to feel better in your training sessions, right? You're going to have stronger lifts. You're going to have better conditioning. You're going to have more energy and stress resilience that carries into sports, work, and life, right? Again, we want to make sure that you're performing better in the gym, whether that be lifting more, better cardio output, whatever it is that we feel you need based on our initial intake with you, you're going to improve that. And then this is going to carry over to also better performance in and out of the gym as well too. And again, performance out of the gym could be your work, it could be with your family, with your kids, it could be performance on hikes, whatever it is for you, specifically what that is, you're going to see an improvement in that, which in turn is going to lead to a better quality of life. And who knows, from a performance standpoint, if we're performing better in our jobs, obviously better opportunities and potential increase in income as well too. And then you're just going to feel and function better, right? So we're also going to make sure that you're feeling good in the process. Improve sleep, making sure that's in check, digestion, libido, mood, blood markers. Again, if you're feeling low energy, that's a sign that something along the chain is off and we need to work on that. Again, if you're not constantly sleeping well, like again, that's a sign that something is off. If your digestion is off, there's a sign that somewhere along the lines things are off. So again, if you're dealing with digestion issues, you're constantly bloated, you're going very frequently. Again, these are things that we're going to improve and make sure they're in a good spot. Your libido, if that's low or lower than it's normally been, again, that's a sign that something is off and we need to work on that. Mood, right? If you're constantly stressed or upset or angry, like again, these are things that we need to look at. And then even blood markers too, right? So make sure basic blood markers are in check as well too. Because again, health is the base that's going to make all this change stick. And so I base this off of 5 pillars, 5 things that we're going to work on. So training. So again, your training is going to be customized, progressive, and we're going to use obviously training that's going to have a goal, right? We're going to work towards a goal with your training, and there's going to be progression within it. Because again, if we're just guessing with our training, you're probably leaving results on the table there. So training is a key part of what we do. Next, movement outside of the gym is super important. So finding ways to increase our movement outside of the gym. This is a huge thing that I see people that work out regularly is they do a good job of working out for an hour a day, but then they don't really move much outside of the gym. So again, making sure that we build in movement that you enjoy and that you can do and sustain, because I think that's a big thing too, is finding enjoyable movement. It doesn't necessarily have to be exact, hey, you need steps or whatever it is. Like we want to find movement that gets you moving throughout the day. And then strategic nutrition, right? So again, we're going to feel for performance, body comp, and health. That in terms of what we actually do is going to be depending on your assessment, right? It's not going to be, hey, everyone needs to do this. So nutrition is going to be very customized to what you need at that time. But again, it's going to be with the concept of feeling for performance, body comp, and health. And then obviously we need to look at the 4th pillar, lifestyle optimization, sleep, stress, circadian rhythm, environment, recovery habits. These are super important. Breath work, improving your breathing. These are all things that we need to do to help these are the things that are going to put your body in position to actually want to change on there. So we can't miss out on that. And then obviously mindset. I think this is a key piece of what we deliver is mindset work, making sure that we're in a good spot there, right? So shifting from all or nothing to consistent execution and ownership of what you're doing on there. Because if your mindset's off, that's going to hold back everything. And so if there's a deficit somewhere in these pillars, that's high on our priority list to get done, because if one is severely lacking, it's going to hold everything else down on there. As far as like delivering support goes, again, it's going to be periodized training plan tailored to your schedule and recovery. So what you can do, what you have access to, and what specifically your recovery is right now. Again, nutrition coaching that's going to adapt with your goals and biofeedback. So it's going to look a little bit different for everyone, but definitely making sure that your nutrition is supporting what we're doing. Biofeedback tracking to know when to push or to pull back. So again, we're going to make sure that we're tracking certain biofeedback markers to make sure you're in a good spot, right? Because if anything's off, that's a sign that we need to work on something there. Weekly check-ins and strategic support as well too. And you get access to the Performance Recomp Academy Education Hub and client community as well too. So I'm always releasing new stuff there. So who's going to love this? Training hard, but you're spinning your wheels. You're just like not really sure where to go. You're working hard, but I need a different approach. Obviously you're 30 plus. You want next level insight into your body, training, nutrition, and recovery, right? So getting that kind of next level insight on there. You're tired of 1,200 calorie misery or more is better burnout, right? You've tried that in the past. It's not working anymore now that you're 30 plus. And you're just ready for a smarter, complete system, not just macros in a 5-day split, and you're on your way. Because again, we know that once we get 30 plus, that's not going to work anymore. So again, I'm opening spots for the next week and a half. Again, spots are limited. If you're thinking about this, definitely want to jump on this as soon as possible. Again, this is the fall cohort of my one-on-one high touch coaching program, Performance Recomp Method. So if you want to learn more, there's a link in the show notes that goes over the program in writing. You can look at some client testimonials, or you can reach out to me on Instagram for more questions, Jeff, HOEHN_ on there. So that's it. Again, inside the Performance Recomp Method, we don't just guess your next step. We choose the right phase based on your current habits and lifestyle, your body comp, your metabolic health and recovery, your training and diet history, and your current biofeedback. That's how we create the most effective and efficient body comp changes while making sure you actually feel good and perform good in the process. So again, you know where to find those things. Look forward to chatting with you. That's it for now, and I'll talk to you guys soon.